Welcome back to Outdoors Type, and we're back at it again. This time we're on the platform of Coffs Harbour Station, and we're going to go exploring the area around Coffs Harbour and some of the old railways that still exist. We'll show you some historic images to give you an idea of the progress from then until now. Stick around and enjoy. Coffs Harbour is on the North Coast Railway line, which is the primary rail route through the mid-north coast to the Northern Rivers regions of New South Wales. It's a major part of the Sydney to Brisbane rail corridor. The line began with a railway from Maitland to Dungog in 1911. This was extended to Gloucester, Taree and Coffs Harbour in 1913, and from Glenreagh to South Grafton, now Grafton Station, in 1915. The gap between Coffs Harbour and Glenreagh, which contains 5 tunnels, wasn't completed until 1922. There was also once quite a few timber tramways in the area, and I'll get into them later. For now, let's look at the area around Coffs Harbour. In his story titled Coffs Harbour Railway, History at its Best, Peter Leonard recounts that one of the most prominent historical operations of the Coffs Harbour railway station was the railway refreshment rooms. They closed in 1964, just 3 years before Peter arrived. There were apparently 5 categories of refreshment room services. Coffs Harbour was one of the highest, with a liquor bar, meals and counter service. Peter also said that in 1967 the railways conveyed nearly all freight and people mostly travelled by train. These were truly the railway's heydays. The Jetty area in the vicinity of the railway was a very busy precinct of industry. The PDS bulk food business, Murray Bailey's Caltex depot and cement agency, Shell had a depot near the overhead bridge, the Banana Growers Federation operated on the northern point of the yard with Pacific Plywood further to the north. Obviously, the station building changed over the years from the first building provided in 1915. The present station building opened in 1971. It wasn't until 1993 that the level crossing gates in High Street were automated with booms, flashing lights and bells. I'm no expert on the railways around here, I'm just an explorer. The former freight yard and crossing loop behind me here in the empty space across from the station closed in 1996, and it's now only in 2024 that discussions are beginning in earnest for the redevelopment of the area. Well, we are just north of Marina Drive here, and in this fenced off section of the harbour foreshore, I do believe we have found some evidence of some of the old railway sidings. This might have been the old Banana Growers Federation siding, or it might have been the Pacific Plywood siding. There's certainly some rails still embedded in the dirt over here. You can see an old set of points there, the rail only. There's no sleepering or ballast or any of that remaining. But this may be the only evidence remaining of railway sidings in this area. Like many of the areas that I go exploring, these old railway precincts are a bit of a wasteland. It's now used as a bit of an overnight camping area. This is the area where my grandmother and her family grew up in dirt-floored huts back in the 1940s, in the early days of Coffs Harbour. A lot of progress has happened since then, and it's unrecognisable from the area that it once was. So that's why it's so special to me to go exploring this foreshore area around Coffs Harbour. Coffs Jetty was built well before the breakwaters in the 1890s. It was built to make the loading of logs from the forests around and other goods onto ocean-going ships much easier. This jetty once had rail lines along it and loaded large cargo ships using huge cranes. It really is just a shadow of its former glory. There's some of the old rail lines embedded in the jetty walkway here. I guess we're not really even sure if they're from all of the rails that used to be around this area. The arrival of the railway in 1912 meant Coffs Harbour's days as a major shipping port were numbered. The number of ships loaded at the jetty dropped by more than half by the 1930s. But light railways helped build the breakwalls, stone by stone. The original layout of the Coffs station yards allowed for connections to these construction lines. The headland was actually a separate island once. At high tide, seas from the south boiled through a rocky passage. In 1913, work commenced to build a viaduct connecting the mainland to South Coff Island, on which a quarry would provide rock for the breakwaters, including filling the gap, partially enclosing the harbour area. Well, we have found one of the original tramway carts used to haul the rocks. Included this shot because I was swooped by a nesting heron and nearly had a car accident to get the shot. Before we wind up, let's check out a couple of other locations. Park Beach Station was an unmanned platform on the western side of Coffs Creek. It opened in 1925 and operated until it closed in 1974. It was popular with day trippers who would come from much further afield to enjoy a day at the beach. The Borelli Bridge is a steel bridge completed in 1988 as part of a major highway upgrade. It's apparently aesthetic. It does look much better at night, though. These days, there's only a single main line serving the station and runs all the way through Coffs. New South Wales Trainlink operates daily XPT services, and freight services on the North Coast line are operated by Pacific National, SCT Logistics and Cube. These super freighters don't stop at the towns they pass through, though. Well, that's it, folks, and thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you then.